Type of game we'd never done before. Had a lot of difficulties at launch, and we got a lot of well-deserved criticism.
I was looking back at some of these interviews with Todd Howard, Pete Hines, and it's a similar thing. We're listening to the criticism, but are you really? It's quite selective, I will admit. Like, you don't hear anything or any changes regarding monetization or any of the things that people have been criticizing, like the prices for some of the skins and all this gameplay affecting stuff that they've been adding as of late. You don't hear anything about that. Quite selective, the criticism that they are actually addressing, and I love in this E3 2019 clip where Todd just stops talking for a minute. He knows he's waiting for that applause. Doesn't really come, but it just never ends with Bethesda and Fallout 76. Like, for a while it seemed things were only going to improve and get better for players, but right now it's as usual one step forward and a few hundred backwards. I still can acknowledge that Fallout 76 has drastically improved these last number of months, unlike other live service games that have faced similar struggles, but Bethesda's greed and incompetency just are a never-ending story. As always, I'm not blaming the developers at the bottom who are just doing their jobs because many of them hate this crap just as much as you and I, but who I blame is the leadership, which have claimed to be listening to the fans. But that may be the case in terms of some gameplay features and future content, but that's not the case when we get to the business side of things, the monetization side of Fallout 76, something that I will note really has never improved and has always been a problem that Bethesda leadership clearly neglects to address because money. Todd Howard and Pete Hines in recent weeks right around E3 2019, well, they did multiple interviews and were claiming that they got deserved criticism for how they launched Fallout 76, but now it's this amazing thing that players should come back to or try for the first time now. Bethesda's Todd Howard infamously said in recent weeks that it's not how you launch the game, but it's what it becomes, something that I find utter rubbish, but being that Fallout 76 is a mess right now, that did not age very well. Now, I do find it interesting as we push forward to the Wastelanders update, the overpriced cosmetics, the power armor skins which cost 1,800 atoms, or the equivalent is $18, are not good enough, and now we've entered borderline pay-to-win territory. If Fallout 76's community does not speak up now, please understand, this is only going to get significantly worse because Bethesda's leadership, the executives really running the show, the Robert Altmans, do not care about a bit of community anger. They will care when players speak with their wallets and or go and play something else. But as usual, if you have not already, do consider subscribing for all the latest gaming news and turn notifications on so you do not miss out on any new content. So, a number of months ago, repair kits were introduced, and based specifically on the wording of the announcement, I predicted that this was just the beginning. I also worried about implementation just because it sounded like the gameplay exclusive version of the repair kit, the improved repair kit, would be difficult for players to get. I also wondered if Bethesda was creating problems and then creating solutions in the form of microtransactions. I came to that conclusion largely because previous patches had nerfed key perk cards, which originally helped players repair things. So yeah, I've always felt these quote-unquote utility items are bad news, and depending on your own definition of pay to win, this definitely could be considered that. For the last month or two, I've been investing many hours into Fallout 76 and personally have not come upon one improved repair kit, but that's just my own experience. One of my main issues with Fallout 76 is how grindy and non-rewarding this experience feels, especially compared to previous Bethesda titles. Following the disastrous launch of this game, I also did wonder if they were going to implement more microtransactions to make up for the poor sales. And that's exactly what is happening, and probably will be happening to BioWare's Anthem if it ever gets revived out of the grave it currently sits in. Fallout 76 originally had plans for lunchboxes that were data mined. These lunchboxes featured gameplay boosts or temporary gameplay boosts. Obviously, due to outrage, Bethesda backed away from that, kinda, but these new utility items are here to stay unless the community speaks up. So back when the repair kits were introduced, they had their very own exclusive spot in the Atomic Shop. With this latest update, that has now been changed to the brand new utility category. Bethesda also added a brand new convenience item called Scrap Kits, which the description on the game store says, when you can't make it back to your camp, a scrap kit can scrap all your junk and then send it directly to your stash. The price of this kit is the same as the repair kit, and it also appears new bundles for these kits have been added, going up to 15. What this is nickel and diming players. I would love to know why nobody except PC Gamer, to an extent, has asked Bethesda about the lies. If you have an interview with Pete Hines, Todd Howard, or whoever at Bethesda, I'd love to hear a more proper explanation of why these microtransactions just had to exist and turn the studio into liars, because pre-release we were told on multiple occasions the game would be cosmetic only. Does that only happen, or is it only guaranteed if the game has a smooth launch? Because it seems many of these live service games a few months after launch are pretty darn good about breaking promises. A good example of that would be Activision, with most recently Black Ops 4. The developers of the game Treyarch have been very open about them having zero control over monetization, with the leaders or executives at Activision deciding to be greedy scumbags and not caring at all about consumers, only investors. As we discussed last month, right before E3 2019, Bethesda's project lead Jeff Gardner told PC Gamer that they did not view repair kits as pay to win. We believe the repair kits were a convenience item for players who didn't want to grind for adhesive and other things, so, playing the game. And it was just a way for them to basically shortcut game systems, definitely not pay to win. I will argue with anybody that repair kits make you win at the game. First of all, you're not really competing with one another, except for in PvP mode. We have all the information, how often people repair, what they repair, and again, you can repair in the game. It's simply just a strict convenience thing. That's my take on repair kits. Well, my take is Bethesda nerfed previous repair systems to further incentivize the new microtransaction kits, and Gardner unfortunately was not asked about why Bethesda before launch said the game would be cosmetic only, and months after launch just ignored that promise. Also, there's been no proper explanation of why an item like this was needed to be in the microtransaction atomic shop, and why the alternative gameplay exclusive one is rare. The only explanation that is logical in my opinion is that Bethesda wanted to get players to spend more money. Looking back to the announcement of the repair kits towards the end, Bethesda noted, as we look to the future, we're exploring ways we can bring other community-driven ideas to the game as well, such as refrigerators for camps, ammo and food converters, and even the ability to send scrap to your stash without having to head home. Sound familiar? Repair kits are our first attempt at a utility item like this, and as you can see, this will all probably be coming in the near future, and right now, I'm not even sure if these new scrap kits can be found by playing the game. I imagine they are like the repair kits, but I have not seen anything official from Bethesda saying that. The description on Bethesda's announcement page says that scrap kits are new one-time use items, consumables that you can use to scrap all the junk you're currently carrying and immediately deliver the resulting components to your stash. They can be used anytime, anywhere without needing to visit a workbench or your stash. This should not be surprising, but many are defending this nonsense, not understanding that Bethesda is just testing the waters right now. Although some from the Fallout 76 community are tired of this BS. One Reddit post that has blown up says, Bethesda quit testing the water with the crappy little kits to see how far you can push gameplay influencing shop items. Repair kits, slight HP buff on unstoppable clothes during an event that actually happened back in February, something that I made a video on. Now scrap kits, they're worming their way into the atomic shop to see how they can push the idea of these items that influence gameplay while using the "it's just convenience" excuse. It's not okay. Yes, these kits are basically useless. Yes, the unstoppable buff is tiny because DR is what makes you truly tanky. Yes, a scrap kit is an insignificant effect since there's a lot of ways to dispose of junk. The point is not to make it worth it, it's to be there to pave the way to more useful items down the line, after you're used to the bad stuff being there, to get you interested in the actual useful stuff and not shock you because the idea of gameplay items won't be new to you. And that's something that I do think Bethesda is purposefully doing, normalizing these gameplay items. Obviously they are trying to play this "it's just convenience item" excuse, but a lot of us aren't buying that. But I will note that the Fallout 76 community, when the repair kits were announced, were outraged about this. But slowly over time, it seems like a lot of people have just gotten used to it, and even with these new scrap kits, they're barely getting the attention that the repair kits got when they were originally announced. Now, this post continues saying the bottom line is they still affect gameplay. Yes, I agree with that. These convenience items in a shop are the direct result of a developer's deliberate creation of inconvenience in order to slide those items in. In other words, they purposely make something obnoxious to deal with to then remind you that you have the option of skipping said obnoxious parts. It's crap, and they are simply using these bad purchases to then slowly introduce more useful items. This crap is not okay at all. What if you eventually start seeing a kit that lets you reduce the weight of an item to 10% of its original weight, just skipping inventory management right? Yeah, that is perfectly said, and what I feel is likely happening happening here. This industry as a whole just loves its excuses for implementing microtransactions that nobody wanted. Now, this is actually not where this story ends with monetization, because some players noticed a very interesting change in the patch notes that was made to the free premium currency Atom points that players could earn by playing the game. Under the gameplay improvements for new players, they changed challenges. The rewards for many early game challenges have been reworked and now award items that will help a new player survive, such as aid, weapons, armor, and etc., instead of atoms. Which, you want to know why they probably did that? With the upcoming Wastelanders update and more than likely a heavy marketing campaign to try and get new players interested, they want to make sure these new players are not earning too many free atoms when they play, so they cannot purchase the overpriced power armor skins, forcing or at the very least encouraging them to purchase the Atom packs with real world money. It's a slimy tactic to try and boost profits. They play it off as something beneficial with giving players aid that will more than likely just be useless in a number of hours, actually maybe even under an hour, but what they are really doing is deleting some of the free atoms these new players could have earned. Fortunately, again, some of the Fallout 76 community noticed this BS. You have one post titled "Greed at Bethesda has no limit, nerf to early game atoms." The post goes on to say, "We all know how the early game gains on atoms is a big deal and how fast you stop getting them in game, leaving weekly/dailies as a only source. I guess they need more real currency purchases." This user brings up a great point. Early on, there are many challenges that players can complete to earn free atoms, but that quickly dwindles down the more you play, with only a few daily and weekly challenges left. Bethesda has now found a way to prevent new users from getting too many atoms, period. They of course will play this off as something beneficial for new players, but it really is just greed. Lastly though, besides all this monetization and microtransaction nonsense that is happening, Bethesda unfortunately released a broken update which once again returned old bugs. This happened a few months ago and many players were just outraged at how it seemed like Bethesda's update was not tested at all, and now it has happened again. You've Reddit posts like this one blowing up saying patch 11 is terrible and Bethesda's incompetence shines once more. Legendary items not showing up on legendary enemies, old bugs returning once more, nerfs to things that were unnecessary, handmade mag, why, removal of easy challenges that give you Atom points, this one's pretty big in my honest opinion, another pay to win item thanks Pete Hines, certain Atom store objects not functioning, glass in the greenhouse doesn't stop rain, plus its foundation does not remove grass. Right now players have actually been composing a list of all the bugs created in this new update, and I'll scroll down on this one, but it's just quite interesting how this madness keeps happening. And the sheer amount of bugs is unacceptable and also absurd for a AAA developer. You got players walking around headless, players being automatically killed just for being a part of White Springs, legendary drops not happening or working, game freezes and lag when you change a weapon via the Hot Wheel or Pip-Boy, power armor pieces vanishing, unusable atomic shop items, NPCs not registering damage, and so much more. But hey, at least Bethesda fixed a light bulb in a bathroom stall in one building. Now, just about an hour ago, it was announced that a hotfix is on the way. It's going to be fixing some of the issues, but again, why does this keep happening? This is also why many online games have test servers, but I suppose that cannot happen because players cannot even see servers at all in Fallout 76. Honestly, this is just a mess. For the monetization crap that is only getting worse, and of course Bethesda, somehow consistently releasing broken updates. I really wanted to give Bethesda a second chance with Fallout 76, but it's quite clear they cannot be trusted at all. They appear to be listening to some complaints, you know, the non-monetization ones, but are just doing the opposite of what the community is asking or demanding. It's blatant incompetency, valuing money over treating players right, and Bethesda just continues to ruin the good reputation that they once had. Anyway, are you still playing Fallout 76? Have you actually ever played Fallout 76? And what's your take on all the new issues that have just hit the game? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, and make sure to follow my other social media accounts for updates on new videos. Links are always down the description below. I'm most active on Twitter giving opinions on news that I do not always get into video form, so do make sure to follow me over there. Also check out my Discord for all sorts of discussion on games, and again, thank you for joining. Consider subscribing for more videos like this. I'll see you later.